Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another one of my videos. Now, the part you're going to see after this, I made a video already, but after that video is about an elder giving up there, and they're having discussion about the proper way of going door to door, and look out for cameras, because you never know who's watching you and who could put you out there for the world can see how Jehovah's Witnesses are not Christians. Now, this talk, I bet you, it went through every Kingdom Hall worldwide, because they must be having problems on the media or people's YouTube channels. They're recording Jehovah's Witnesses, which I haven't came across none of these videos myself. Apparently, somewhere Jehovah's Witnesses are having different conversations and they're being recorded, and they are embarrassed. So they're trying to get the congregation be aware this is a new century, that people has security cameras running 24 hours a day, put on some kind of a hard drive, so when they want to go back, they can see who is at their door to see if there's anybody who's trying to break in. So please watch this talk and leave a comment, because either way you look at it, it doesn't matter how you dress a Jehovah's Witness, it doesn't matter how much they think they know the Bible, they are an intruder with poison literature to destroy you and your family lives. We know about the Wake magazines. We know all about the Watchtower, because we was in this cult, this false religion. So who would know more than Jehovah's Witnesses? The ones that used to be Jehovah's Witnesses. So all I can say here, listen how they brainwash these Jehovah's Witnesses to be alert. Make sure you are not being videoed or being recorded audio, because you never know, someone like me could be recording you. So you have a nice day. Bye bye.
Yeah? It sounds like no one's home. I've been here before, and the woman was very mean. Her beliefs were really strange too. Oh, maybe she's home but hiding from us. Okay, let's go next door.
It is. And I am just so happy to be working with you in the ministry today. I think this is the first time we worked together since you've gotten married.
Yes, I think so.
Oh, I remember it's been over 40 years since I got married. Time has just flown by. But marriage is a big change. How are you adjusting?
All right, I guess.
Just or right? Are you sure?
Well, we have been arguing a lot lately about...
Oh, this is good. I should post this online.
I'm so happy that we see the funny side of this video. But this is a serious matter because we're going in the ministry to save life. And thus, failure to display good manners could stumble an individual. In fact, we should not be surprised that people are watching us when we are in the ministry, because the Bible helps us to appreciate that we are theatrical spectacle, meaning that people will be looking at us, watching us as God's people. And so, while the video, we can see the funny side of it, well, certainly we can see the distraction and how it could affect our ministry. In fact, we need to be aware, brothers, that we are in the age of social media. Cameras are everywhere, especially in our ministry. And many cameras on the doors, they have a microphone. In fact, recently we were in our territory in Addisley Park and we saw a picture on a door. There was this lady going around stealing package. She was stealing packages from people. How did they capture her? By means of a camera. In fact, when we speak to the householder, he had her voice recorded. The same can be true of us. And thus, we want to keep in mind this scripture at 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 3, which says, "In no way are we given cause for stumbling, so that no fault may be found with our ministry." So how we behave in our ministry, yes, displaying good manners in our ministry is very, very important. Wouldn't it be sad if we see on YouTube or on some social media platform a conversation that we are having at the door? Wouldn't that be sad? And so, as we go to the door then, let us give attention to our conduct and our speech. In fact, even before we get to the territory, we want to give attention to how our actions reflect on others. What does it say? Does it really say that we are representing our God Jehovah? And so at this time, along with the video, let's turn in our kingdom, in our workbook, and let's read together the scripture there under "by your conduct," Philippians chapter 1 and verse 27. So we'll take a reader for that. Philippians chapter 1 and verse 27. Let's have Sister Sutton, please.
Only behave in a manner worthy of the good news about the Christ, so that whether I come and see you or I am absent, I may hear about you and learn that you are standing firm in one spirit, with one soul, striving side by side for the faith of the good news.
Yes. So Paul was encouraging the brothers here as they carry out their service. They should do so in a manner that is worthy of the good news. And so let's take that first point, respect. How can we, what are some things that we must avoid as we participate in the ministry? Sister Singh, please.
We must avoid peeping into the home, eating at the door, drinking, or making phone calls or sending text messages to someone while standing at the door.
Yes. Sister Miller, please.
In years
years ago, that was one of the things that they taught the pioneers, that if they wasn't at the door, always look in the windows, go to the back, look around, try to find a householder. So even though it was a sincere behavior, now we don't want to be read wrong and be disrespectful to the householder.
Okay. Brother Garlis, please.
And the point about sending text messages, that may be a hard one, because sometimes sending a text message is just a reflex. Your phone goes off and you're already typing before it even comes out your pocket. And it's sometimes we have to control that urge. And it's a text message. It can wait till we move past the door. If it was something like an emergency, then a call would be made and then you would step away from the door as well. So we want to make sure that we avoid doing those things, because the householders are watching either through the cameras or through the windows.
Yes. So let's focus now. Let's see how we can get a balance here. Because it is a fact that most of the householder, when we ring their door, where they look through first? Through the window, isn't it? They look at the window. And many times, if we are not looking at the window, then we might not see them, we might miss them. But there's a difference between looking at the window and peeping through the window. There's a big difference. It is when we peep, as is shown in the pictorial illustration, then that is not demonstrating good manners. In fact, what we'll be doing then is invading the privacy of the householder. So keep that in mind. So I normally like to tell my co-worker who is with me, I'll keep an eye on the door and you look at the window. He's further away from the door than I am, and so he will never peep. And so keep that in mind. May we never peep and look if someone is inside. And one brother said something can happen to us if we do that in New York City. So let's be careful, brothers. Now, let's talk about eating at the door. We might not eat at the door, isn't that true? But we might be drinking coffee because probably it's winter. Or we might have our cool coffee or ice cold coffee because the weather is hot outside. Is that appropriate? What is your thought on that? We might not eat a cookie, we might not, but what about drinking at the door? Maybe a cup of tea or something. Sister Coiner.
Well, there's other appropriate times when we can do that. Maybe before we even go out into the territory, when we're in our vehicles, that would be a good time to maybe finish our beverage if we need to warm up. Or if we're cold in the winter months, we can take a break and go into our vehicles to drink. Or if maybe it's a bottle of water in the summertime when it's hot, when you're between the doors, stop before walking to the next door perhaps and have a drink of water if you need it then.
Yes. And Sister Liz, please.
And if you're drinking at the door, anything could happen. If an accident or something, you could drop it in the literature and also on the household.
Yes. So never do we want to drink at the door. It is inappropriate. It's not demonstrating good manners. The same is true, brothers. We'll not go for an interview and drinking while we are doing the interview, will we? So how much more so when we are participating in the ministry, we should never eat or drink at the door. We should take a break if we want to do that. Now, let's focus attention on our speech. Now, speech is very, very important. We are encouraged when we work with our brothers, we should encourage them. In fact, elders are told to shepherd brothers in the ministry. But do we do it at the door? Note what the scripture said at Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 29. It said, let a rotten word not come out of your mouth, but only what is good for building up as the need may be, to impart what is beneficial to the hearer. So whatever we say at the door, brothers, it should be something that build up the householder. It should be something that is positive. It should never be something that if they place it on some social media platform, we are embarrassed by it. And so if we have to talk about private matters, why not stop doing house to house for a minute and talk to each other, maybe on the corner, or in our cars, where we are out of the earshot of our neighbors. It is very important that we give attention to our speech. Do you note something in the video, brothers? What was the sister's intention? The sister who initiated the conversation at the door. What was her intention? Brother Howard.
She wanted to be encouraging. She had the thought of encouraging her sister who she hadn't spoken to in some time.
Okay, thank you. And this sister just got married, and so she wanted to be encouraging as well. But we have to remember, brothers, the scripture said, not everything is lawful is advantageous. So while it is lawful for us to encourage our brothers, but it is not advantageous sometimes to do it at the door. Keep that in mind. And so we don't want to persons to hear about our private lives. This too could detract from the truth. And so when we are at the door with each other, how can we demonstrate? How else can we demonstrate good manners at the door? Sister Bright, please.
We can demonstrate good manners at the door by perhaps just being quiet and just collecting our thoughts together so that we can get our presentation together instead of and then we can resume our conversation once we've walked away from the door.
Thank you. Sister Brown.
Being focused, paying attention, because it shows personal interest. It shows the importance of our message, that we're looking, it's something serious, so we want to be serious about what we're going to say. And I was thinking about, not that we're cops, but if there are cops coming to our door, they're not going to sway from whatever the situation is. They're here to tell us a message or get their point across. So in a sense where we have something important to say, something of hope, we have to show the same importance.
Okay, Sister Baker.
Or even as we know, sometimes people are indeed behind the door listening. Maybe we could talk about what we would talk to them about potentially if they did open the door, so they can still get the witness because they're there listening.
Yes. And Sister White, please.
Yes, I had an experience in working with an older sister, a pioneer sister from Jamaica. She was visiting. She knew nothing of cameras being in on people's property at the time. And I told her when we was on somebody's stoop, that's a camera. And she says, really? She said, what's about? I explained it to her. And she said, okay then. And she went and did the exact demonstration of the literature that you would have done if somebody came to the door. And right there, it struck me, and I'm like, that's what we should be doing. If there's a camera, we know they're going to be watching us, why not share a scripture? Why not say, I came to see you today, and apparently you weren't home, and leave them a message? And it might seem comical at the time that she did it, but what she did was very impressive.
Yes. And so in order to show good manners and to ensure that we do this when we are at the door, here are some things that we need to consider before we go out in the ministry. And these are some questions that we must ask ourselves. How may we show good manners when we arrive in the territory? So start thinking about that. How may we show good manners when we arrive in the territory? When we are walking between doors, when we are standing at the doors, our companions they're giving a witness. When the householder is speaking, when the householder is busy, or when the weather is inclement, when they are rude. We need to contemplate these questions before going in the ministry. And certainly if we do, then surely, brothers, we will demonstrate good manners at the door. Lives are involved as we preach the good news. Never do we want our conversation, our conduct, yes, our speech at the door to stumble anyone.